pull it with the arm. Good morning. This is Ladena Bough, pastor from Stockton, Missouri, and we are now on Trials and Triumphs. And I have a couple of guests here today. Our main focus is going to be Samantha. And Samantha is a resident at Clean Sweep Ministries. And Marsha Holland over here has Clean Sweep Ministries. And she's expanding. She's now in Springfield, Missouri, and you're opening a house in Potosi.
Yes, hopefully after March 1st. We're really excited. We've already got all the beds filled from a treatment facility.
Oh, my gracious sakes. That's amazing.
Yes, they are just excited.
You're getting a lot of support from the community up there in the churches.
Yes, the mayor, and we got several churches on board.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
How many beds you have in that particular house?
We have 5 beds, and they're already filled. We just give God glory for that, because it just there's such a need in all of our small towns. It's just
I know there's nothing in Stockton area, but anyway, we want to focus on Samantha. Hi, Samantha. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, I'm not bad. It's been Ladena Day here at Acts Ministry. I didn't plan it that way, but that's what it's ended up being. But, it's just fine. I like coming down here and talking about God and everything. Now, you are a resident here at Clean Sweep Ministries in Stockton. How'd you end up at Clean Sweep?
Well, I was going to Murney, which is a treatment center here in Springfield, and my peer support gave me Marsha's number, and I called Marsha and told her my situation, and I just got kicked out of Oxford House. So I called Marsha, and all she had was a couch open, but I was like, I'll take it. It's better than being out in the streets.
Yeah, the street's not a good place to be. I've had a lot of friends over the years that have ended up homeless. Actually, a stepson who was homeless for years and just worried me to death, and I believe you've got children and stuff also, do you not?
Yes, I do. I have 2 babies. They're 3 and 4.
3 and 4. That's a fun age.
Oh, yeah. The girls at the house are kind of like,
Now, do you have custody of your children, or are you just on a visitation schedule?
They're in foster care right now. I just got overnights granted last Friday.
Awesome.
So they're coming to the house every Friday now. And I'm working on getting them back.
Oh, yeah. Well, how long have they been in foster care?
9 months.
9 months? Now, how did they end up there? Were you having drug issues, alcohol issues? What was going on?
Drug issues and domestic violence. I was addicted to meth. So it was a little bit of that. And me and my husband were fighting all the time. And it just began to get worse. And somebody called and the kids got took.
Yeah, well, domestic violence is a bad situation no matter how you look at it. I lived through that, a couple of times. It's like, I guess I didn't learn the first time around. So and I'm like, okay, fine. Let's go on to the next guy. He's a little bit bigger and he can hit the first one. It was a horrible cycle I had going on there in my life for a while. But so how do you like it at Clean Sweep? Is it, have you been able to progress and get God in your life? Let's put it that way.
Yes. Actually, we do classes. We come to here on Mondays, and then we have class on Wednesdays, and we learn about God. And I felt really a lot closer than I had been in a long time.
Had you had a relationship with the Lord before you got there?
I did. I did, but I kept running away. Like I wanted to control everything and, make.
You thought your decisions were better than his. Huh?
Yes.
I think we all did that.
Yeah. It's like, come on, God, just work with me a little bit on this one.
Yep.
He doesn't want you to do that, though. He wants you to follow what he has directed.
Yes.
And I know I've met a number of your ladies over the past couple of years, and they've all seemed amazing whenever they were around here, and they were so on fire for God. You're doing a wonderful job with that. And Marsha also has charge of our women's church. down here on Monday evenings. Sorry, guys, you can't come in. That's, because we want the ladies to be able to share their
Yes.
concerns, because a lot of times girls don't want to talk in front of men about what they're going through.
Yeah.
There's a real judgment factor there, and it's scary a lot of times when men are around.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even with that, us ladies, we talk about that because if you talk about, in your addiction, we use our bodies
Mm-hmm.
to either identify ourselves with a man or use our bodies to get our fix or what we need. Either way, if it's sexual addiction, drugs, and when you share those things, it puts us in a position of more being vulnerable for a weakness of a man to come in and
Mm-hmm.
seduce that way,
Right.
and that's why the environment is so much easier for us women to get together and talk and build each other up, and we don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Now, Marsha was on my show probably close to a year ago now, and she shared her testimony and what brought her to start Clean Sweep Ministries in the first place. And, a lot of women are uncomfortable talking about what they've done before.
Yeah.
But you get in a room with other women, and it's a whole lot easier to share. A lot of them have gone through the same situations. You're not old enough to go through as many situations that I have, dear.
I mean, I've probably been through a lot, though.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh, well, you're 10 years younger than my daughter.
I'm the baby in the house, apparently.
Well, I'm apparently the old person here, so, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with it. But so, did you have any legal issues that ended up getting you into trouble, or was it mainly just home situations?
The home situation, I have some legal issues, but it's just like no insurance charges.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing too serious. The main thing was the home situation. We've been living in a shelter for a little bit, and we started using again, and then we started fighting. And, it wasn't only him that was doing wrong. I was doing wrong too. So I
Oh, yeah,
can't,
it takes two to
yeah,
fight.
it does.
I've fought with my wall a few times and never talks back. So,
Right?
But you were all in a homeless shelter, all four of you, your husband and your two kids and
Yeah.
you.
Yep. And it was a one-room hotel room.
Oh,
So, being cooped up in a room is not
yeah.
the healthiest either.
No, that much closeness can really get to you.
Yeah.
My stepson's lived in a hotel room with his wife for the past year. They finally got a house, but yeah, that was even too close for them. And then she had her 16-year-old daughter living there with him, and it's like, okay, you got two beds in one hotel room. You just got married, and it's a little. It kind of puts a cramp on your situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know about cramps.
Mm-hmm.
Small
Yeah.
house.
So, were you raised in the church, or?
I was raised with my grandmother. We go to church off and on, but not a lot.
It wasn't a weekly routine or
No.
anything of that nature.
No.
Holidays.
Yeah, holidays, Easter, that sort of stuff.
Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, that's when everybody goes to church. Or if there's a disaster in your town like ours. I mean, we had great services right after the tornado wiped out the entire town, but a month later, everybody dropped off again.
Yeah.
So it's not something you were exposed to all the time.
Yeah.
Now, why were you living with your grandmother?
So my grandmother raised me. When I was born addicted to drugs. My real mom and dad did drugs. They were addicts,
Mm-hmm.
and they just couldn't take care of me.
Yeah.
And I was born with club feet, so I have fake heels and ankles.
Huh?
So, and my grandmother was able to take me and raise me, and
Mm-hmm. Well, grandmothers usually step in like that. I know my own grandparents took in my cousins, but that's because my aunt and uncle drowned in a boating accident. So, but I think it's really difficult for grandparents to raise a grandchild, because you don't get the joy of being the grandma and spoiling the kid because you've got to treat them like your own.
Yeah. Well, I was spoiled. I got anything and everything I wanted. So it was that kind of played a lot.
Do you have much of a relationship with your parents?
They passed away.
Yeah.
My grandmother has also passed away. So it's kind of just me and my kids, now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you've got Marcia for support.
Yeah.
Marcia's a great mom there.
Yeah, she is. She's so amazing.
Yeah. She's probably a little bit strict on occasion, but you have to be when someone's coming out of an addiction situation or anything of that nature. But I'm sure that you give them all the guidance you possibly can over there. I know she has Bible studies and, all the girls work. You learn to get your life back on track. Do you teach them budgeting too while you're at it?
We have talked about that. We work with just in giving them advice, but that is some of the things that we're wanting to work in is just a financial budgeting. Working on a lot of the ladies, we help them work on getting a checking account and things like that. So, but we actually, me and Miss Tana and our house mom have been talking about that.
Yeah, I found in our own town that the young girls that are out there working now, yours are not really young. You're probably one of the younger ones there, isn't
Correct.
she?
Correct.
They forget how to budget, and so they get out of whatever treatment they're going through, and instead of using the money to take care of their kids or pay their rent or something like that, they go get their nails done. Got to find a new man. Yeah. So I've always found budgeting to be a big thing. And, when you look at statistics, if somebody goes to a charity and you give and you give and you give, well, then you're not helping them up. You're just, turning them into dependent on somebody else instead of themselves. And our times today, you better be dependent on yourself a lot. The Lord will carry you through if you keep in touch with Him, but the world's not going to help you.
Yeah, definitely not.
The world has a tendency to knock you down instead of bringing you up.
Yes. Yeah.
So you now all the girls at Clean Sweep, they all get a job. You're not working yet, though, are you?
I am. I have a job. I work at McAllister's. So, it's okay. It's okay. That's the best I can say about it.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been working there?
I started last week. So
you're still in the training phase, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That training phase can go on forever sometimes.
And a lot too with Miss Samantha. She's very tight scheduled. She's in family court. So with family court, she's required so many treatment hours, and those treatment hours takes up a lot of her daytime. So getting those jobs to work with you is one of the biggest challenges with young ladies coming in family court that have children. And she's really persevered. I have to compliment her on that. And, just making those good decisions that are based on for her and her kids. And I do give my opinion a lot, and I have to reel myself back in because I do give that mama advice and, be protective when I know there have been in situations and I have to take a step back because they have to make those choices and learn about those choices and talk those choices out. And so, and she's still got a lot of choices, to make, where the other girls, they are in mental health, which is, they see psychiatrists, counselors. Since we don't do anything in-house, everything's outpatient. And, I think with Samantha, she's one of them that is, really, if we could say anything, she's persevered and sometimes her flesh would lose control, get away from the fruit of the Spirit, that self-control, but she would allow us to reel her back in through counsel and things like that. And we've really seen her grow in those areas and making proper decisions.
Yeah, that's a big thing in life. Yeah. It's at adulthood. It just really gets to you once in a while.
Yeah, and it is like the treatment hours, the NA meetings, the classes that I do for Marcia. It's a little complicated because it's so hard to find somewhere that will work with you, or
Yes.
even like because now I'm getting overnights. I have week through the week visits now too, so it's just kind of hectic.
Yeah, well, you'll be ready for anything when you get through all of it, too,
Yeah.
though.
Yes.
If nothing
yes.
else, it's a training for yourself and
Yeah.
how to budget your time and budget whatever that you're else doing in your life and so forth. When you have to shuffle so many things, I know the thing with shuffling. I had 90 children in my house when my kids were growing up, so everybody else got dogs and cats brought home by their kids. My kids brought home kids. So,
That sounds fun.
oh yeah, it was fun. It was kind of amusing. They go and answer the phone. Hello, Rainbow House, Green speaking. They're like, okay, step back a little bit, guys. So, what have you found that is the most gratifying to you now since you've gone to clean sweep? Because before you'd probably got all your gratification from your husband or your drugs.
Yeah.
So what have you found different?
Just like walking with God, like learning more. Like I'm in my Bible daily. So and like he's promised, he didn't promise it was going to be easy.
Oh no.
So, but learning more, learning to open my Bible when I've had a hard day, or just taking time to breathe, because it's not the end of the day. It might be the end of the night, but it's not the end of the world.
Right. That'll come soon enough in life, I'm afraid. But yeah, that learning to walk and learning to get into your Bible and trust what's said there. That's a hard thing to learn for a lot of people, and then they open it up for a few weeks, and then it's like, nah, it's not for me. And I've never felt that way in my walk with the Lord, but I know a lot of people who have. It's just too much work. Because trust me, being a Christian is not easier than what you had previously.
Yeah.
You'll get a lot of things trying to knock you down, but if you stand firm in that, I think you'll go far. Um, what ever brought you into the drug situation in the first place was?
So, it was actually my husband. We met. We weren't married. We were living together, but he showed me how to use,
Mm-hmm.
and I took that first hit, and I liked it. So
Yeah.
I was doing drugs for 9.5 years.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that they had their first hit on meth and automatic addiction. That was it. They couldn't go without it. And it always broke my heart to see them, because I could watch them just go downhill and, walk in that addiction instead of, trying to find a way out of it. So, did you have much interaction with your parents through their addiction?
No,
No?
definitely not. My dad was in and out of jail since the age of 16,
Mm-hmm.
so he wasn't around much.
And what about your mother?
No, I didn't have a relationship with her at all. My dad's mom raised me,
Mm-hmm.
so
Well, it's you always wonder whether or not how life would have turned out if you'd been with them. But
yeah,
if they were both in addiction, it probably wouldn't have been a real good situation for you.
yeah, definitely not.
What do you like best about being at Clean Sweep?
Well, the girls are awesome. I think what I love most about it is Miss Marsha, her heart. You know, she really does have a heart for this, and she cares. I haven't had anybody care this much about me in a while. So,
Uh-huh. Marcia's gone through a lot. She knows how to give that care and that love. You know how to give them a good hug. And we were telling people last hour, if you need a hug, come on down here. We'll all hug you. Come on in the door. We don't have anything against hugging anybody right now. So it's makes life a whole lot easier, I think, whenever you've got somebody that you can trust and who sees you. You
yeah,
know, a lot of times you go into a situation or a counselor or something like that, and maybe you don't feel like they see you. They
yeah,
hear your voice, but they're not understanding where you're coming from. And I know Marcia has the ability to empathize and understand the ones that she is trying to help, and she's doing a great job. I've met quite a few of your ladies over the last couple of years.
yeah.
It's hard getting them in here. They all get scared and don't want to come here. Kind of like Samantha today.
Look, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. I was like freaking out for the first little bit. I'm like, I don't think I can do this, but I'm like, I said I was gonna do it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, well, we're not scary here. We just want you to come in and tell us everything that went on in your life and all your deepest, darkest secrets.
Kind of like an open book now. There's not very much in it that ain't been told. So
Yeah, well, that's one thing that people need to realize. It doesn't matter what you've gone through. If you've got God in your life, share how you got there.
yeah,
Share what got you in that first step and brought you to loving Him and understanding Him and reading your Bible and doing everything else. If you came from the dirtiest ditch in the world, if the Lord lifted you up, share that.
Yeah.
Tell the people, because if somebody else is going through the same situation, they want that uplifting. They want to know that there's a way out.
yeah,
And that's what this whole show is about. I've gone through this, but I'm not defined by that. I'm not defined as being a drug addict. I'm not defined as, state took my kids away from me. You have to move forward from that and say, I am what God says I am.
Wonderfully made.
Wonderfully made, yes.
Yes.
And I always told my children, my daughter, I said I didn't raise any princesses. But then after she got baptized, I did have to admit that she was a princess in the eyes of the Lord. Yeah. But until that point in time, no, I didn't raise any princesses. Okay. So, did you have a close relationship with your grandmother?
Yes, we were very close. Like we did everything together. It was cool.
Oh, well, how long did you live with her before you moved out?
Till I was like 18,
18?
19, yeah.
So I assume you got a high school diploma and everything.
Yeah, I graduated high school.
There's a lot of girls that don't. Some man gets in their life and they decide that's what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew if I didn't graduate, my cousin told me if I didn't finish school, he would kick my butt. So I was kind of more scared of him than her at that time. Because I was like, I'm going to quit school. And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Well, I have to say I had 90 kids in my house and every one of them left with a high school diploma because I would not allow anything less. I helped a lot of them go on and go to college, but it's like, no, you will not leave my house without a high school diploma. I don't care who you think you are.
Yes.
And do you have girls that you help get a GED or, well, I guess it's high set these days.
Yes, actually, one of our ladies now is currently enrolled to get her GED.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really excited about
But
that.
you've got other people around that have a diploma that can help them study.
As long as it's not math.
You're not into the algebra class?
Nope. So a little secret here. In high school, my boyfriend did my math homework, and I did his history homework.
Oh.
So that's how he graduated, and that's how I graduated.
Yeah, well, I have my granddaughters calling me, Grandma, can you help me with this? I'm like, Grandma doesn't like algebra.
I like history. I love history. So.
Yeah, well, history is a good place to start, and I hope that you find the books that teach real history instead of the watered version we get these days.
Right. And that's the one thing about the Bible, the history of the Bible. That's what makes it interesting. If you have a heart, a lot of times, we were talking about the ones that will connect to it. If you like a mystery, I look at it, when I read it, I'm like, well, I want to know what happened to David. Further down the road, what did God, it's almost like that, detective work. You just in the history and just the of it. Well, how did that end up? What did he do for him? And it's that's kind of I see more that people that like history will relate and like the Bible more.
I think the Bible's got something for every situation.
Yes.
The history. I have a lot of friends that are preppers, and they told me to go get my Bible, and they were showing me all the places where the Lord was having people be preppers, put away this, because we're going to have 7 years of drought or 7 years of famine and so forth, And so, yes, there are prepper verses in the Bible, because they can touch on about anything in your life, I believe, and I think there's an answer in there for everything.
Yes.
Basic instructions before leaving Earth. And sometimes you need more than just basic instruction, but it's in there too.
Yes, yes. And the Lord's just really been speaking to me here lately, just on the fruit of the Spirit. And because, Satan has promises too.
Yeah, he does.
And if we're not listening and careful, we'll listen to his promises more than what the fruit of the Spirit is.
Yeah, well, we saw that in the movie we all went to last month. Satan has a very big voice, and he's got an agenda. And if you can't keep yourself focused on what the Lord wants for you, then you've got, stop it, phone. At least it's quiet, but it's vibrating my headphones. I don't know why that thing is ringing today, but there is so much in the Bible that it's not just dry reading. If you get in the book of Numbers or something, you're sitting there going, "Why am I having to read this, Lord?" But I just want you to know that it's not all that dry, and if you get really into it, there's a lot of history in there. There's a lot of advice for daily living, and a lot of people don't look at that, but they've got to understand the blessings and the curses, because our addictions, we're cursing ourselves with those addictions. We're not doing what the Lord wants us to do. We're bringing upon a curse on our own lives. And, we've got to help people out of those situations. And that's why Marcia has such a beautiful heart. And, you went through a lot to get there.
Yes.
And
I'm thankful for that. I look back, he's been doing a little reflection, taking me back to the dirtiness and, where I came from. And I really look on that because there'll be times in your walk as you're going that you'll reflect. And he does that for his purpose to say, oh, that's where you was. And now this is where I got you. And I'm thankful for those moments because it gives me he's just really showing me some peace because I've been responding emotionally and fleshly. And more in that than walking in the fruit of the Spirit and just his character, because we can lose sight of that.
right.
And, that's a wonderful place to be is in his Spirit and listening to him. And my prayer for all of our ladies and the ones to come, that they'll get to a place that they can hear his voice. And
it's such a beautiful voice.
yes, and lean on him. And because we have to, when we start out, we have to ask him, say, Lord, show me your spirit, let me hear your voice, to know if I'm listening to the right voice, because the mind can play tricks.
Yeah, I went to a Bible study for the longest time, and I always knew when the Lord was speaking to me, because there was this beautiful fragrance. It smelled like roses every time. I got that feeling that, okay, he's going to tell me something. And so I could smell these roses, and it's like, okay, lay it on me, Lord.
Right, yeah, that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing too. The aroma. I've heard people share that they've had an aroma before they've had an encounter with him.
Right. I really loved that, and this was the most peaceful place and beautiful. We sat down by a creek and had our Bible studies and everything out under the trees. And we'd start at 6 in the evening, and a lot of times we were still there at 4 o'clock the next morning. So luckily it was warm at that particular point in time. I hear it got cold outside here today.
Got rainy.
Yeah. So, what do you like best about being there, other than the girls? And are you liking the teachings? Are you getting into them?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I'm not. I don't really like the Tuesday night class, but everything else is pretty good.
Is Tuesday night get too personal?
No, it's just like I think it needs more flavor in it. I think we needed more flavor in that one instead of just sitting there and talking. I think it needs more flavor.
Well, you're supposed to add the flavor.
Right.
Have
Yeah,
you?
it's a 12-step faith base. So they're walking through the 12 steps. It's a different version and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
used to going to these NA meetings where you have everyone and it's just like flavorful and you learn a lot.
you're still learning a lot. You're just learning it under God's direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take in that flavor.
I mean, I don't mind doing it. I'm learning stuff. It's just I feel like we need flavor in it. So.
Yeah, well, I know that my ex-husband, excuse me, my ex-husband used to have to go to domestic violence classes. And trust me, you're in a safer place where you are, because I was convinced that those classes were just all these guys getting together and sharing notes on what to do to somebody when they got home. And I think maybe some of the NA meetings are like that also. It's like, I'm here because the court told me I had to be, and right now you're not someplace because the court told you had to be there, did they? You're.
No, I'm technically family treatment.
Well, that's guidance from God. You knew that you needed more than just once a week meeting or 2 times a week meeting with NA or AA or any of those situations. Um, I know that my stepson, he was in the Hope Homes down here, and it's biblically based with the Freedom City Church and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that put him on the straight and narrow, is that love of the Lord, and the love that he was shown by those people in the house. And he didn't have to go to a lot of NA meetings or anything like that. And I have to say, he's teaching Bible studies these days. So I have no doubt that, Marshall will get you to the point where you'll want to teach others.
Yeah.
That's our calling. We have to
Right.
share the good news, and we have to, lead others. Because if you're not doing something to bring about the kingdom of heaven here on earth, then you're slacking in your walk. We all need to do something to try to bring somebody else into His kingdom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, do your children are in foster care? Are they in a Christian foster home or?
Um, I don't. I don't know. Like, I don't think so. I know they don't go to church,
Mm-hmm.
but but the foster parents are cool with me taking them to church and stuff like that. But I mean, the foster parents are really amazing.
Well, that's good.
Like, they're amazing people. So,
Well, we hear a lot of bad stories about foster care.
mm-hmm.
There's some really good foster homes out there. There's really good foster parents.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
think my kids have got the best ones. So,
Well, that's good. Yes, at least you can feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and me and the foster mom and dad, we have a good relationship. So I love that about it.
yeah. Well, they let you talk to your kids whenever you want to call and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yep. When they're not in school, I can call anytime.
Oh, that's
And,
wonderful. It's hard to keep a relationship going with your kids if you can't communicate.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, we video chat almost every night before they go to bed, and I try to keep my phone on me at all times just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the foster mom is really, really amazing. So she lets me talk to him. Me and her are trying to make plans to take my daughter to get her ears pierced. So we'll see how that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, at least you're able to communicate. I know some people that can't communicate with their kids in foster care.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart because how are you supposed to work towards reunification
Right. Yeah.
if
I see
you
that too.
rip their parent away for a few years and
Yeah.
a few months,
Mhm.
few years or whatever, because the child gets so disturbed and distressed at that
Yes.
point. Oh, she's back there bossing again. You see how she is. She's been bossing me around all morning.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
I never called Jody Satan. She's the most
I was just
glorified woman here. And she preaches a great sermon, okay?
Just kidding over there, Jody.
Yes, you get to see Jody more often than me. I live an hour and a half north of here. So, and they made me set my alarm and be here before 8 o'clock this morning. And it was like, oh, it's been a rough day. I told him I had to set my deer hunting alarm this morning because it's really loud and across the room. So I have to get up at that particular point.
Yes. Not smack it.
Put a pillow over your head, you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I usually just use my phone, but this morning I knew it wasn't going to get me up because I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
Oh, goodness.
yeah. But, anyway, you think, how long you think you'll still be in Marcia's program? Maybe I better talk to Marcia. How long do you have your girls in your program?
We're 9 months.
9 months?
9 months. So that's our goal with Samantha. Court willing and everything working together with her children, because those are the main important things, is the reunification, whether with us or in her own home. So that's our goal with her, is to get her kids back with her, get her working, where she can pay and take care of her children.
Yeah.
Our goal is the same as her goal.
Well, it's kind of like pregnancy, 9 months and you can have your children.
Yes, yes. And we believe that's a good time because that gives her the opportunity to grow with them, do her overnights. If they need to move sooner, then we make adjustments according, to the mom and the children. So,
So you are well on your way to having your children full time, hopefully.
Yes. I phased up in court. So I'm in phase 2, and then my kids could come home to me at any time. They could come and start living with me as soon as possible. Like, because in phase 2, your kids can come home to you.
Well, that's
So-
good to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, reunification with the family, I think, is most important than anything in
Yes.
foster care does.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
The
you-
sooner the better, they say too.
Right, especially as young as yours are.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need their moms.
Yeah.
They need their dads. So, Jody's back there waving at us again. Well, actually, she was staring at the clock. So I know she wants us to be quiet. But we want to thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Samantha. I'm so glad you came to talk to me, even
Thank
though you
you
were
for having me.
terrified. And Miss Marcia, it's always a joy to see you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
anyway, if you want to get in touch with us, my email is pastorlb@axmediagroup.com. And we're here every week.